When we talk about improving our dogs' diets, we usually think in terms of protein, fats, minerals, and vitamins. But there are other compounds in food that don't get as much attention, despite having measurable effects on things like immunity and inflammation. They don't provide energy as such, they're not essential in the traditional sense, and they won't show up as a deficiency, but they do influence how the body responds to stress, how the immune system behaves, and how well different systems communicate with each other. And this is where ingredients like spirulina, chlorella, wheatgrass, or seaweed come into the picture. You've probably seen them grouped under the term supergreens. Now, I'll be honest, the name itself is mostly marketing, but when you look at them individually, there are some generally interesting mechanisms behind how they work. So rather than going through them one by one, I think it would make more sense to look at what they actually do in the body. Let's start with the immune support. This is where spirulina stands out. Spirulina is a type of blue-green algae that contains compounds such as phycocyanin, which have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. These compounds don't act as nutrients in the traditional sense, but they interact with the immune system and help regulate how it responds to challenges. And we actually have dog-specific research here to support this. In 2021 study, dogs fed spirulina showed a stronger vaccine response and higher fecal IgA levels, which suggest better support for both systemic and gut-associated immunity. What that means in practical terms is that when the dogs were exposed to something their immune system needed to respond to, in this case a vaccine, they produced a stronger and more effective response. And the increase in fecal IgA gives us another piece of the picture. IgA is one of the main antibodies found in the gut, where a large part of the immune system actually sits. High levels suggest that the first line of defense, the part that helps deal with pathogens before they enter the body, is more active or better supported. So this suggests that spirulina might help the immune system function more efficiently, particularly during times when the body is under more demand, like around vaccinations or recovery. The next area is interaction with the gut. Ingredients like chlorella, barley grass, and wheatgrass do contain vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients, but their role in the diet is often more about how they interact with the digestive system and the microbiome. These ingredients contain fibers and polysaccharides that don't feed the dog directly, but instead influence the gut bacteria. And that has knock-on effect on digestion, immune function, and even inflammation. You might hear chlorella described as helping with detoxification as well. And that idea comes partly from animal studies showing that chlorella or its components may bind certain compounds in the gut and help increase their excretion. But as we don't have strong evidence for this in dogs yet, and the effect would likely depend on the compound used and the dose, I think it's more appropriate to view it as a source of micronutrients and antioxidant compounds with potential effects on the gut environment rather than a proven detox solution for pets. Barley grass and wheatgrass fall into a similar category. They are rich in compounds like polyphenols and flavonoids, which are known to have antioxidant properties. Most of the research here isn't specific to dogs, so we need to be careful not to overstate it. But these types of compounds are well studied across nutrition, and they are thought to help manage oxidative stress in the body. So again, they're not there to provide calories or essential nutrients in meaningful amounts, but to contribute small functional compounds that support the body at a more subtle level. Then there is a slightly different category, ingredients that have more targeted systemic effects. And a good example is Ascophyllum nosodum, or knotted rag, which is a type of brown seaweed. It's commonly used in dental supplements for dogs, And we do have canine research showing that it can help reduce plaque and tartar buildup over time. In a 2018 placebo-controlled study, dogs given edible treats containing Ascophyllum nosodum for 90 days had significantly lower plaque and calculus accumulation than dogs in the control group. There is also a later paper looking at changes in saliva metabolomes in dogs given Ascophyllum nosodum, which supports the idea that the effect might be systemic rather than just mechanical. And then you have more familiar ingredients like broccoli, parsley, and spinach. Broccoli contains a compound called sulforaphane, which has been studied for its ability to activate the body's own antioxidant defense system. Most of this research isn't in dogs, but in laboratory and human studies, where sulforaphane has been shown to influence pathways involved in cellular protection and oxidative stress. Parsley contributes flavonoids with mild antioxidant and antimicrobial properties, and spinach provides nutrients like folate and carotenoids. So when you put all of this together, what these ingredients are really doing is adding small functional compounds that support processes like immune balance, gut interaction, and oxidative stress management. But this only works if you have the basis of the diet right. There is a study that analyzed over 200 homemade dog food recipes and found that 95% were deficient in at least one essential nutrient, and over 80% had multiple deficiencies. So if the diet isn't balanced, adding spirulina, wheatgrass, or any other of the super greens is not going to fix that. Where these ingredients make sense is when the basics are already in place and you're looking to support the body further. That could be during periods of higher demand like vaccination, recovery, or in dogs that need a bit more support with immune or gut health, or simply as part of a well-formulated diet where you're aiming to optimize rather than correct. And just as importantly, if your dog is already healthy and doing well, you might not see any dramatic changes. So are super greens just hype? The term is yes, but the ingredients themselves, when used appropriately, do have a place. They're not essential and they're not a shortcut, but they can add another layer of nutritional support that's often missing, as long as they're built on top of a properly balanced diet. If you want to feed your dog complete homemade meals, check out our Drooly app. And if you'd like to try out super greens for your dog, have a look at our green supplement that contains 6 super greens in an easy to give powder. Thanks for watching.